By the late 70s, American culture had begun to shift in a way that gave rise to a new form of self-expression known as the golden age of graffiti art. New York City was undoubtedly at the heart of this punk rock and hip-hop movement, and artists like Carlos Rodriguez may have been considered one of the original vandals of the scene. But with a second and more sophisticated look, some would simply call him an original.
Well, when people refer to the golden age of graffiti, I think they're talking about, I would say, 1978 to 82. In that era, there was a lot of painters, style masters that were painting trains in the underground scene in New York with the beginning of hip-hop culture. The amazing thing about the graffiti subway car was that it traveled. You couldn't ask for a bigger, better layup. Millions of people could see your work. Now it's considered a legitimate art form. I think it was always a legitimate art form done illegitimately. And so what we're seeing now is all kinds of different interpretations of it.
Ultimately, it was his street smarts that allowed Carlos to remold his street art into a profitable living. With the ability to stay ahead of the game while remaining true to his art, Carlos has been able to fearlessly tackle multiple mediums, from sculpting in the 80s to web design in the 90s.
We started showing in galleries, but the problem was that the art deviated from what it was. It became more pop art, and my response to it was like, well, no, it should be authentic. And eventually that evolved into something more sophisticated. The website stuff started in the early 90s with my brother, and we were the first ones really pushing the agenda of, minorities online. When I first got into the whole idea of the internet being the new platform for the graffiti writer, I said that this is the new layup, because you can post your work up and not just hundreds, but millions of people could see your work and they could respond to it. And the subway system, if you look at a map, it works very much like the architecture of the internet. It's all this interchanging.
Not only does Carlos serve as a symbol of originality and authenticity for future artists, he's become a well-respected leader, lecturer, and writer on the evolution of New York's urban aesthetic.
My career, I came from painting trains to doing fashion design, jewelry design, sculpture design, internet design, structural design, award design, and I didn't intend for any of that. One of the values of having work that's recognized not just by your peers, but by younger people, is the magic that happens. It's quite an emotional experience because you see how your work resonates on other people and what that effect could have on them and their future. And so one of the things I was trying to explain to the kids today is that no matter how remote the possibility or the idea is from what you do, take it, give it a shot, There's no failure in trying. There's failure if you don't try.